If you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
And why do you support Trump?
I just like his policy.
Like what?
Well, I like that he's trying to put the American people first as far as uh, bringing more money back into this country. I believe this shutdown is a Democratic ploy that they don't want to play by the rules, and that I mean, come on, when do you debate during a CR, clean CR? Why not sign it?
Yeah, so the reason why the Democrats specifically don't want to sign the CR that you're referencing is because it cuts the funding that was going to be continued for the
But didn't they have
ACA
4 years
subsidies
to? Didn't they have 4 years prior to fix that gap where it expires?
that relies on like Congress getting that passed, which they have to get through the filibuster like what they're doing now. So that's not the point that I would specifically point on to. The
But
point that
when do they add policy into a clean CR just to keep the government open? I mean, like you're talking a lot of people not getting paid to be out of work because the Democrats want to put in or debate this policy that they could debate when the people get back to work. When is it? Why is it politics over people? When did that start? Like why?
Well, actually, I think that the Trump administration is doing that. One, because Trump himself in the past has specifically said that it's actually like the going to be the job of the president to get people to come together specifically to vote to keep the government afloat. But now, specifically when he's president, apparently that reasoning doesn't apply.
So what was
Secondly,
the last time the government shut down?
2014,
And who was president?
Barack Obama.
Right, and that it lasted for what reason? Because he wanted Obamacare passed, correct?
Or actually, wait, wasn't there one in
No,
like
the
during
last
Trump
time
in
was Trump.
2018?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
Trump. That was the last time. And Obama's shutdown was because they wanted Obamacare passed, and he started crying that he wanted it passed. He's going to shut down the government. The Democrats like to hold the public a hostage to get
How
their
is he?
policies
He's the
passed.
one who's it shut down twice under Trump.
They're shutting it down because they hate. It's all hate, dude.
Oh, come on. I thought it was the president specifically that's got to get people to come together to get people to keep the government afloat.
Okay, so why, if if the Democrats want to preach unity,
Why aren't the
why are they
Republicans negotiating?
they are negotiating?
No,
They
they're
want
not.
a clean CR.
No, they aren't. They keep just putting in the same CR. They're not negotiating. They're not even picking up the phone.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a clean CR just to keep the government open. There's nothing added, nothing taken out. It's the
No,
same
they're
thing they
not.
signed the
It's
last
not
four
true.
years.
Not true.
It's the
Because
same CR they signed the last 4
no,
years.
that's just not true. They've
All right, so
literally.
you
That's not
agree
true.
with what they want to do, the bill they want to pass. You're for funding what they want to fund in that
The
what they
ACs,
want to pass.
yes, because I don't want people's premiums to increase.
Well, the premiums are going to increase anyway. The deadline's
No, they're
passed.
not.
Yeah,
No, the deadline.
deadline passed for the.
Well, I don't think that these subsidies should specifically be limited. That's what they're specifically advocating
Right,
for and
but
talking
there's
about.
so much. I mean, I'm sure you
Hold
read
up,
you read
hold
you
up.
read the whole thing, right?
I have not read the whole thing. No.
Okay, so I have not either, to be honest with you. But from what's being said, a lot of money is leaving the country to get this bill that they want for supposed health care.
That's just not true.
I don't
Like,
agree with it. I
so
don't
if you
agree
wanna
with it.
talk
Do you,
about
you agree with? All right, you pay taxes, right?
Yeah.
You have a job. You got a W-2. You pay your taxes. You pay your government and everything else, right? Do you want you don't mind paying for people that are not supposed to be getting the health care that we get? Is that? I mean,
Undocumented,
just tell me. You don't
undocumented,
mind paying for others on the free ride?
dude. Undocumented immigrants are not in the context of the bill, right? Getting any type of benefits in terms of like health insurance. If you're talking about paying for other people's health insurance, absolutely. I'm a taxpayer and I'm absolutely okay with increasing the amount of money that we're spending from a government perspective on people's health care. I think right now we do not cover it enough. We should be covering it to a greater extent.
Yeah, but it's covered through taxes, right? So the more you make, the more you pay into healthcare. So that's more of isn't that how it works?
Yeah, the
They're
more
going
you
to take
make, the
more
more you
from the
pay
people
into
who
it.
earn more money. Yeah, the more you earn, so does it. So what's the incentive for people to earn more money if they're going to give more people more stuff? It's almost like a socialist type of program. And you,
I would like you to define socialism.
I don't have my computer in front of me like you do,
Okay,
so
so
I can't.
socialism is when the workers control the means of production. This is clearly not socialism, right? You're just talking about taxation in terms of people who are more wealthy, specifically to pay for people who are in need. That's a good thing. What's the incentive to continue to make more money? Well, because people want more money to be able to buy
Well,
things
the
in their
more you
life.
make, the more they
But
take,
the more
right?
you make, the greater percentage in taxes you will pay. Yes, but people who are specifically
Yes.
going to make that much money, they proportionally speaking will likely keep working, as it is the case that they specifically want to keep making money. They have some goal that
Okay.
that they're looking for, and they can pay it. They can afford it. So I would rather the tax be placed on people who can afford it and have the disposable income than it be placed on specifically people who cannot afford it. Like the tariffs that Donald Trump's advocating for, they increase taxes for working class Americans, for lower class Americans, because it is the case that lower and middle income individuals spend a greater proportion of their income on consumer goods. So when tariffs increase the price of consumer products because there is a tax paid by the American importer who's importing the products to this country, and it's passed down to the consumer because it's an aspect to cost of production and distribution, and it's not placed on the profits, well, then that means that it's specifically going to increase the taxes for working class Americans and shift the burden of
Well, it
taxation
increases, yeah,
from
it
those that are
increases the
disproportionately
product
higher
cost.
income
Correct.
to those that are
I'm not debating
disproportionately
that.
lower
I'm not
income.
debating the tariffs increase the pricing of the products, of course, because if it's made in China, where it's being made
Wait, no, no, no.
cheaper, it's
Think
going to
about it this
be.
way. No, I want you to think about it this way, though. What is it doing to the burden of taxation? If the burden of taxation is being shifted from a progressive tax structure where disproportionately richer individuals pay taxes to a greater extent to a system in which is regressive through tariffs, which lower and middle income individuals are spending a greater proportion of their income on that increase in tax, then what you're doing is you're shifting the burden of taxation from those that are disproportionately rich to those that are disproportionately lower income.
Okay. Let me get in front of my laptop, man, because you got a little advantage because you can look up on me.
I'm not looking anything up right now.
So, do you think the tariffs are a bad thing? Do you think bringing more money
Yes.
into the country is a bad thing?
Yes.
Why?
Tariffs are bad because they increase the cost of consumer products for American
It
consumers, which
increases the right.
disproportionately
So,
raises taxes for lower and middle income individuals when
right, but the
prior it was
purpose
meant
of
to
the
tax
tariff.
people who are disproportionately rich. You're not listening.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening. I understand what you're saying. It does. It manipulates the taxes, yes, but the purpose of the tariffs is to bring these people that are profiting from being their product being built overseas to bring them back to America to bring more jobs back to here. And that's what car dealers are doing, dealerships, the manufacturing. How much money did he bring back into this country with the tariffs?
Well, domestic manufacturing investment has declined in this country since Trump got in office, accounting for inflation. So not only has he not increased the level of domestic manufacturing in this country, but we saw a massive increase under the Biden-Harris administration. Actually, under the Biden-Harris administration, because of the Inflation Reduction Act, because of the bipartisan infrastructure, because of the Chips and Science Act, it massively increased domestic manufacturing, and we saw it rebound to levels in which we haven't seen in decades in this country. Right?
Right. Okay.
Okay. What did? Okay. So then, like again, with the point we're bringing up is that what tariffs are doing is because he's replacing income tax with tariffs, right? Some percentage of income tax with some percentage of tariffs. Tariffs are regressive, meaning they disproportionately get the revenue from lower and middle income individuals, whereas specifically, what's it called? Income tax is disproportionately coming from the rich and wealthy. So if you get rid of income
I
tax
think
to a certain
in
percent
U.S.
and you replace that
manufacturing,
with
just like
tariffs, that shifts the burden of taxation from those that are higher income disproportionately to those that are lower income disproportionately. Why
okay,
do you
so
think
I'm
that's
reading
good?
here. U.S. manufacturing sector reached a record high in 2024.
Oh, that's in 2024 under Biden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since Trump's got in office, we've actually seen real domestic manufacturing investment decline. If you look at the St. Louis Federal Reserve, look up real manufacturing investment U.S. Fred, and it will come up.
I'm reading it.
I can also pull it up for you if you like it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at yeah, something else about employment. So did he just strike a deal? Did he just make a deal with China? And the whole thing with China was for the rare earth, the rare earth.
I don't see anything with China that we've got that's bettered this set of conditions prior to when he was in office. I don't think a handshake demonstrates that. Trump is just taking credit for everything.
I still think the shutdown should be discussed, and I mean I think the CR should be signed and the government should open, and then debate should take place as far as the healthcare situation. I'm agree. Listen, I don't disagree. I feel everybody should have healthcare. Everybody should be covered. But I mean, you
Wait,
can't
why do we have to, in order to be able to get to that debate, have to concede to your side?
because that's how
Why don't
that's
you
how
have
it's
to
been
concede?
done.
Why don't you have to concede to our side?
But that's how it's been done. Nobody
No.
put policy in doing a continuing CR.
Wait,
When was the last time that was done?
why, in order for us to be able
Well,
to
when was
get
the
to
last
the
time that
point
was force
where we're
fed on
having the debates,
the
why, in order for us to get to the point where we're having the debates, do we have to specifically agree to your position? Why can't we agree to my position?
because the way it's written is not. I don't agree with.
Okay, well, same thing with yours. I don't agree with yours. So what do we need to do? We need to negotiate. How do we negotiate? Our Congress members need to be calling each other and picking up their damn phone. Republicans are not picking up the damn phone. They're not negotiating. They're not having dialogue about this. They keep putting through the same
Uh,
CR, right?
I
Hoping
think
that
it's just,
somehow it's going to change the vote in the future because
I
they're trying to force Democrats into specifically the situation because they changed the interpretation of the law to not provide SNAP funding. Did you know that?
yes, yes. There's funding for SNAP, but from what I've read, that there wasn't enough to cover the whole
No, there
program.
was. Wait, so I'd love to see the source on that because they did absolutely have enough funds. And it is the case that the Trump administration, just based upon their quote unquote own interpretation, are saying that they can't apply this when prior they could do under the context of a government shutdown. All they've done is say that they just don't want to do it essentially because they don't want to interpret it in a way in which allow for them to utilize emergency funds that they do have specifically to pay for SNAP.
Hold on.
Okay. So like what point here would be the reason why you support Donald Trump? Because this to me sounds like Trump is starving people in the United States in order to try to get what he wants instead of negotiating.
I guess that's where we're different. I think the Democrats are starving people in America to get what they want.
No, that's you understand that they had over a month to specifically like talk about the terms and they decided not to do that.
Right, because what's
They
proposed
decided
here,
not to even talk.
right, because what they're proposing is funding for a lot of stuff that's outside the country in their bill.
So yeah, you're saying that we're fighting for stuff out of the country. How are we fighting for stuff out of the country? What are you talking
So
about?
it's in their bill what they want us to agree to before they sign the CR.
Like sending 40 billion to Argentina?
Yeah.
No, that's actually the Republicans.
No, Argentina. No, the whole transgender thing.
What trans thing are you talking about?
Oh, let me find it, dude. Hang on.
What? There's nothing that's being brought up that's even talked about relating to that. What are you
Yeah, there
talking
was
about?
sex changes in Wanda and all that.
Oh, there's nothing to do with
Yeah,
any. There's nothing to do with that. That doesn't exist. That's a made up talking point. Where's your source for that one, buddy?
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll look for it.
I'm trying to find the. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how to write it. Damn. I can't. My computer's lagging. My internet's up.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I can't bring it up on my thing to even discuss it with you because I don't want to say that don't really know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to spew nonsense. if I can't find it, and I'm really lagging over here.
Oh, can I ask you about something then? How do you feel about Donald Trump, like literally lying about science, like saying the climate's gonna start cooling, science just doesn't know it yet, climate change is a hoax. Him saying that like Tylenol usage during pregnancy causes autism when
I
there's been a
listen.
study
I
that
don't
indicates
really know
no
how to answer that
association.
because I don't know how to answer that because they've been saying climate change for all my life, and the seas rising. I mean, Plymouth Rock is still visible. I mean, if the sea's rising, you wouldn't be able to see it. I mean, I don't know where to go
Dude,
with that.
I don't know why you
I
think
don't
climate change is just sea level rise. Yes, sea level rise
No, it's
has
not. I
happened,
know it's not that.
but
I'm just
climate
saying
change is
that's just
not just sea
part
level
of
rise.
everything that's been said over the years that I've been
So
alive.
can
That
I tell you? Can
the
I tell
water's
you?
rising, the temperatures warm. I mean,
The
listen,
temperatures have
we still get
increased.
snow. Yes, the temperature rose, but I mean, it's I don't think it's that I really don't think it's that big of an issue.
So
I really don't
you
think
think
that's an
you
issue.
think it's not that big of an issue, but what I'm telling you is it is that big of an issue, and I don't think
Why is
you're
it
the
that?
one because that's what the scientists indicate, right? I'm sorry, I think that climate scientists know a lot more about how the climate is operating than Craig on TikTok, right? I
Well,
think Craig on
absolutely. I mean, if
TikTok
that's their
probably
profession,
knows
if
a
that's their
little bit
profession,
less
yeah.
than the climate scientists that have been studying this for decades, right?
Well, listen,
So
I'm not disagreeing with that. So I'm just saying, and I'm sure I know how to operate my machine better
Wait,
than science.
like, why is Donald Trump thinking that? Donald Trump thinks it's a hoax. He said the climate's going to start cooling and that science just doesn't know it yet. So Donald Trump thinks he knows better than science.
How do you want me to answer that? If that's what he thinks, I
There
mean,
is no way
everybody's
to answer
entitled
that.
to.
There's no way to
There is
answer
no
that
way to answer.
without.
You're right. There is no way. I can't say he's wrong, and I can't say he's right. But yeah, listen, you go with who's educated in that department. So
Okay,
I mean, if the
okay.
scientists are saying that, I mean, they've been saying climate change for 50 years since I've been alive. I don't see it that much. I really don't see it that much. What do you see?
Yeah, I think that I see scientists indicating very clear evidence that the climate is changing and that it's impacting people, and that if you don't want people specifically having to mass migrate around the world, it's going to create conditions for greater levels of mass migration. That's just the reality.
But
Right? Not only that, but it's increasing the likelihood of severe weather. It's decreasing the likelihood of us being able to have the same agricultural production in certain areas around the world. It's changing conditions for agriculture, which is definitely harmful to farmers and harmful to people who rely on the certain climate conditions within areas that they are.
yeah, I don't can't agree or disagree with you, Dad. I mean, I mean, that's, I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna debate you on that one because I don't 100% agree with that. I mean, I don't, like I said, where I am, I get snow in the winter, I get heat in the summer. I mean, my summer wasn't
Okay,
any hotter this year than it
really.
was last year.
What state do you live in? I'm just curious.
Jersey,
Jersey. What temperature is it outside today?
right now,
Yeah.
hold on. It is. That's literally coming up on my phone. I think it was like 48 degrees or 50, between 48 and 53. I think it was the last I checked. I'll
What?
give you a roundabout.
Yeah, and it's in November, right? When was the last
Yeah,
time it snowed?
last last winter.
Last winter. Okay. So you're
Like, what are you
already in
talking about? Like,
November, and the last time it snowed was last year. So then here's my question. Did that happen when you were younger? Or was it snowing by this year, by this time of the year?
uh, we've had snow in October
Yeah,
once,
yeah, like
but not.
when I grew up on Halloween, it would be freezing cold. There'd be snow
Absolutely.
on the ground, right?
Listen, there were last year it was freezing cold for Halloween. The snow. I remember maybe two or three snows on a Halloween in Jersey. Where I don't know where you out of.
Well, I grew up in Iowa. I was just saying, like
Yeah.
the point that I'm making. I think that this should
That's
be
a,
better.
you're
Like,
talking a whole different climate there.
well,
I
then
mean, from Jersey.
let me give you an example. My grandpa, when he was alive, was a farmer, right, in Iowa, and he actively saw the conditions of the climate in Iowa change over time because he was there all the time and he relied on that for his particular crops. So ask farmers, talk to farmers, Ask them about how the climate's changing. Don't just say the random people that are specifically just, going in different businesses and stuff are going to have the ability to identify the changing climate. If you want to ask someone based on their daily life on whether or not there's been a change in the climate, talk to the people who who have been farmers.
Okay.